What is up, everyone, and welcome back here to episode 2 of Panthers versus the World. And shout out to our producer Joel for that amazing intro. I loved it. Got me ready to talk some Panthers hockey here with Jeremy. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm back in Florida. Can't wait for game 2 already. But yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that was it's crazy. Just can't stay thinking about game 1. Game 2 is already coming tomorrow, but it was definitely a great game. I think there's a lot of positives, and we could talk about it, and then also kind of talk about the series as a whole. But just to start, Panthers win 3-2. Was 3-1, but Stamkos had a very late goal that was pretty meaningless. Like I don't think anybody in the stadium was nervous that they didn't have any time left to score another one, it felt like. But yeah, just a great performance, I thought. Overall, in general, it's not much more you could ask for than that. If they play every game like that, I feel great about what they can do.
Yeah, that from what I saw last night, from what I was seeing from watching the game, I thought the team, they started out very strong. The team got off to a very hot start. Tampa didn't have a shot on goal until like 4 minutes left in the game. We were not in the game in the period. Maybe it was 5 minutes. It was one of the two, and even then, one of their first shots, it went in, which wasn't really concerning besides the defensive lapse that happened there from Bennett and Mikkola. But, I mean, the team got to a pretty hot start. The second period, they had a little bit of a struggle, gave up a pretty bad penalty from Lundell, but other than that, the Panthers played a really good game. They even played they did bounce back big time in the third period. I thought they played relatively disciplined. There was a couple times where they took penalties that went unnoticed, but other than that, I thought they played really well against a team that, especially since John Cooper even said that they had to change their game plan early on. Like, if you're able to change their game plan, that's huge.
Yeah. I did not get a chance to see what he said, but just from being there and like watching, it felt like the Panthers definitely got out to the quicker start. Like they came ready to play. Kind of felt like the Lightning weren't, like you said, they didn't get a shot on goal until 4 minutes left in the period, which was very impressive. I think if the Panthers can continue to control the game, control the pace of the game, dictate who has the puck and the flow of the game, they're going to have success. That's how they want to play. I don't think the Lightning are capable of having sustained offense, really, unless the Kucherov line is out there. The Panthers are just generally a lot deeper than the Lightning on paper, but it was just a great effort all around. Like I was saying before, I don't really have anyone to nitpick, and say that they played a bad game. Like I thought they just did well. I was very impressed with how disciplined they stayed. I think that's going to be a big key to the series, is just staying out of the penalty box, not taking any dumb penalties, initiate, don't retaliate. All the cliches, but the Lightning have the number 1 power play in the regular season. They only got 1, and I thought the Panthers did a great job of preventing them from setting up. But if you keep giving the power play chances, eventually they're going to cash in. So I think just what they did was awesome. I know probably most fans expected them to kind of muck it up more, like get into scrums after the whistle. I think as the series goes on, that'll probably begin happening. But I thought it was just great that they weren't even really getting involved to an extent by the Panther standards, because they're veterans over there. Like they'll know how to draw penalties, Tampa. So kudos to the Panthers for being smart.
Yeah. As you said, it was a relatively disciplined game from both sides. And I know Brian said it too earlier. He had mentioned at Metal Panthers on X, but he had said that there weren't too many scrums that were happening after whistles, and if there were, they were relatively mild compared to how the Panthers played some teams like the Senators and everyone getting thrown off the ice. There weren't too many moments of that happening, especially in a game when there were some referees that were in there that often let things go to the very maximum, in which then everyone does get thrown out of the game. So everyone kind of expecting a bad game, a bad disciplined game, but actually it really wasn't like that. And as you said before, I think the team played really strong on the penalty kill in the second period when Lindell did take that penalty. They didn't. I thought they. I don't know if Tampa had any shots on goal during that penalty kill. I'm not
I
sure
think
they
they may
did.
have had one or none, but yeah.
I'm not too sure what it was, but I do remember like every single time just watching it, every time they tried to get set up, they didn't look comfortable. The Panthers were making them uncomfortable, and that was huge. If you can make the Tampa Bay Lightning your big bad brother, uh, intimidated, that's huge. And I think they did that last night, especially coming out of the gate swinging all like that. And the power play, which I'll get to later on. I mean, while there is work to do there, which they ended the season on a relatively quiet ending, but I mean, I thought the team played really good, and as you said before, it was disciplined and it was good.
Yeah, that would be the one thing actually. Thinking about it, that I would say um, was a bit concerning. The first few power plays they had, they kind of just struggled. It looked like just still like I don't know what it is. Like again, I haven't played hockey. I don't know X's and O's. Like I can't quite say what it is. And I think in general, just fans, like when you're at the game and the power play struggling, like every fan just wants them to shoot the puck. And I don't think it's as simple as that, obviously, because if everyone just shot the puck and it would go in, it'd be too easy. But I think just they do a good job of staying calm. Always, this is a veteran team. Like now, the Panthers, like you said, like Tampa was the big bad brother, but now it feels like the Panthers are saying like, hey, we're the best team in the state, and we're just going to continue to play like that. Anything outside of I kind of want to talk about the goaltending on both sides. Mhm.
Yeah, that the goaltending, I mean, from both sides, both teams had phenomenal chances on them. I think Vasilevsky, we definitely didn't see the Vasilevsky we were seeing in the regular season. We were seeing postseason Vazzy again. And is it scary? Absolutely. But the Panthers were able to get 2 goals past him. One of them happening on the power play, which was nice. Great feed from Barkov.
Right,
And
yeah,
another one that kind of just like found its way in after Reinhart tipped it, which was great to see. But Vasilevsky, after he allowed that goal from Reinhart, he settled it relatively quickly. There was a chance that was out front of the net that I remember that I had to highlight in my head because I thought that was going in for sure when Kachuk found himself all alone right in front of the net for a second. And
Wayne kind
then,
of like went behind and tried to sneak it in.
yeah,
So yeah, that looked like it.
I don't remember who it was afterwards. They had the follow up shot, but I thought that was another great opportunity that happened in a matter of a couple seconds. But Vasilevsky, after that happened, I felt like I knew deep down Vasilevsky was there and he was back. So on the other end, though, Bob had I thought he had a great game. Tampa had that late push at the very end with the last 5 minutes left in the game, and Stamkos had a one-timer stopped. Throughout that entire sequence, I thought Bob just stood on his head. He looked phenomenal, I feel like, this game, and I don't blame him for the one goal that he gave up, like the first one on the rebound. I feel like that never should have even happened in the first place. It was a bad rebound that he gave up. So I mean, rebounding has always been his big issue here in Florida. Honestly, I don't remember too much of how bad it was when he was a Blue Jacket, but I just know from as soon as he came here to Florida, his rebounding has been a huge issue. It was a bad thing last year against Boston. Allowed them to take game 4 off of Bob and his relapses, just allowing too many rebounds, and it happened again in game 1. However, besides that, that was the only thing that I could even slightly critique. I thought he looked great, and the Stamkos goal, I'm not even worried about because it happened with 8 seconds left.
Yeah.
It was a goal that happened in basically time that didn't matter. So I mean, everything I saw was pretty positive, especially from Bob.
Yeah, totally. I think just to touch on Bob, and then I'll talk about Vasilevsky, but yeah, I thought Bob, like, I don't want to say outplayed, but like certainly went toe to toe with Vasilevsky.
Yeah, absolutely.
which if he's going to do that every game, then you got to feel great. Yeah, I don't think like in any series really you're going to look at the Panthers and be like they're at a disadvantage in goal. Um, I mean I think Vasilevsky is the best goalie in the NHL. So I would say that if you're going to go toe to toe with him, then he probably had a pretty good game. But yeah, he was incredible towards the end. And I also thought what was impressive is, like we said, there was very limited shots on goal for a time. He was prepared. Like when he had to answer, like after we had sustained amount of offense, he would come back and just be there for a timely save, which is what you need. As far as Vasilevsky goes, like you said, he settled in, which was good to see for the Lightning, but not for the Panthers. But I definitely just think that what the Panthers did, which I was very happy with, was they know that they've played this guy a few times. You got to get people in front of him. You got to screen him, get traffic, get tips. Like I thought they did a great job of having a net front presence like at all times. And just that's how you got to beat him. You're not going to beat this guy like just shooting from the outside, like taking slap shots and stuff, which is kind of like what I was saying on the power play. Like you got to get creative with how to beat this guy. So great job by the Panthers. The physicality from both sides of clearing the net, I thought was there. Like that's what it's going to be like in the playoffs. But guys like on the Panthers, they're not free to get hit. Like they're going to take a hit to make a play. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. Yeah, and I mean, just guys were laying monster hits like for both teams.
Yeah. There was a few. I mean, Tarasenko. I mean, it was very, very questionable call. It was a very questionable missed call, which I remember seeing it live and kind of shaking my head like, yeah, it could have been called. But
there was a few. It's like interference, definitely called regular season.
It was, you know what? I can't complain because I'm a Panthers fan. I'll take it. I hate to say it, but I'll take it. But I mean, Tarasenko laid the hit on Kucherov. There was a couple other moments throughout the game. I remember. I remember I just seen a tweet recently that said Barkov had I think 6 hits last night, tracked by NHL, which is I think one of the most in his career, which is insane considering it's Barkov.
Yeah. Honestly,
if Barkov's getting physical, this is going to be a very scary sight for the Lightning because the entire team is now getting there.
I would say that like was the most like always with Barkov, and I feel like you'll probably agree with this. Like he's so good and so talented, but it seems like he's like not even trying. Like it just comes effortlessly. Like and in this game, it finally felt like he was skating with a purpose, and like how you just see like for example Nathan McKinnon, like when he's skating, he just looks so angry and he's so fast and just dying to like to move, to score, to anything. And finally felt that way from Barkov. Like he just found like another gear, which every Panthers fan I feel like has been wanting for so long. For him to be physical, I don't want to say like engaged because I have no doubt in my mind that he wants to win and he'll do anything to win. But like just like another level of intensity that we haven't seen before from him. And if you're going to get that, then that's like the next step in this Panthers evolution, I feel like, and it's exactly what they would need in the playoffs. So awesome to see game 1 him looking like that.
Yeah, I mean Barkov had a phenomenal game. Like we said, the physicality was there. When he's skating, he's not one of the fastest players in the league. I mean, he's a great skater. We see what he can do on the penalty kill with him just being able to control almost. He eats up time like it's nothing. And we didn't really see that last night because really Tampa Bay only had one power play, and even that the one time we weren't really ever controlling the puck at all. There was maybe one time it looked like we had a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3. That was about it. But I mean, Barkov had a phenomenal game. It's worth noting too that this year he's been fresher than ever, considering Paul Maurice was only using him using 2 minutes less than last year, which is big, and that's coming from one of our helpers on the podcast here, Brian at Metal Panthers on X, and he mentioned it to us, and we didn't really know that until I just checked it before the podcast started, and yeah, he played fresher yesterday. He looked like it. If we see an even better Barkov, that's huge because I felt like we saw a good Barkov last year in the playoffs, but everyone has had critique Barkov in the past because of his playoff performances. And if he's able to reach that new gear, like you were saying here in the playoffs, that's so huge. Because now you have 2 guys that are able to perform here too, with Tkachuk and him.
Yeah,
It's big.
I think for the fans, like you just want your guys to show up in the playoffs and score. And Barkov's like just what he does, like I said before, it's so far above my level of like watching hockey. And I feel like for probably most people too, I would say like the general average fan, like they don't know what they're watching. And he just does the little stuff like so well. And defensively, he's just unbelievable. I saw stat him and Forsling on the ice together for 450 even strength minutes have 9 goals scored against 9, which that's incredible. And those aren't against like third, fourth liners. Those are against the other team's best players. Like every night that they're doing that and just completely shutting uh, everyone down, which it's just amazing. And yeah, I have no question he's going to be there defensively, blocking shots and everything. I think just fans kind of want him to score more. But I mean, that pass to Verhaeghe was just world class. The one camera angle
It was
of it
too
where
good. It was too good.
he's unbelievable. You just Verhaeghe said after the game, I watched him. He's like, yeah, like I just had my stick there. Like
Yeah.
Barkov did everything. Like anyone could have done that. I was just there. Which
He's done that a few times too. He did that a couple times during the regular season. And also, I kind of wanted to mention it too. The power play. I think we had 3 during the game. We scored the 1 power play goal on the Verhaeghe one from that amazing pass from Barkov. And that was kind of a play that we didn't really see ever happen in the regular season. I feel like in the regular season, we always saw from Barkov to Kachuk to Reinhart, rinse, repeat. And we saw it a lot. And we also saw sometimes going to Verhaeghe on the other side and the left side trying to get a snipe off, which we saw a few times. But we never really saw anything with Verhaeghe as a net as a net front presence, and he kind of was last night. I mean, we saw that play where he gave it to Barkov, and then he just went straight to the net. We saw that maybe 1 or 2 times during the regular season, but it wasn't really a set play, and it almost looked like it was a set play. Barkov just waited there, and he stood there. He knew what was going on, and he just waited for him, and it happened. To me, it looked like they never really once tried to get a look with Reinhart.
Yeah, and to Reinhart, I thought what he did that was impressive. He's going to the net. Like the goal he scored was off a tip. That's what you got to do to score this time of year. So I like that. Like Reinhart he's not a guy that's going to shy away. One thing with him, whenever he gets hit, he always grabs his helmet, and it just scares me. Like I always think he's like concussed. Like he'll fall down and just put him like, come on, like just get up. But yeah, I mean, I was very glad to see a new wrinkle to the power play because I said before, my concern is that it just was so predictable.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do stuff like that, then how can you predict it? I mean, I thought it was just great. All around awesome. Game 1, like even the fourth line, I thought was incredible. Like they didn't do anything, but when they just they got the puck in the offensive zone and just cycled it and tired them out. Like that's what you want your fourth line to do. Like just eat up a couple minutes while the other guys are resting.
Yeah,
they score a big goal here or there once a series, something. That's all you can really ask for. But I mean, just no dumb mistakes. Like Lomberg didn't do anything. When I saw him in the lineup, I was joking with my friends. I'm like, what do you like? How long until he just takes a dumb penalty 2 minutes into the game? But he was great. Nick Cousins, I thought was great. Stenlund is also a very, very nice addition.
Yeah.
For the whole season. I did see that that he just during the season, I think Lomberg mentioned like he doesn't like to get physical, but you wouldn't know it if that was your first time watching him play. I thought he was just great. Throwing the body, and he kills penalties too. Like I'd like them to find a way to keep him around, but we'll see.
Yeah, Stenlund played an amazing part in the regular season. He was in and out of the lineup quite a bit with Lawrence and times when he was injured. But I thought Stenlund was honestly one of the best additions to the team, besides guys like Mikkola and also halfway through the season we acquired Tarasenko. But Stenlund played a phenomenal part last night too. I mean, I think that fourth line is honestly, when the fourth line is playing good, it's honestly one of the best shutdown lines in hockey, because Lomberg is a great presence there because he throws the body. He's not afraid to throw the body around. He's super fast.
He was laying hits on Victor Hedman.
He
was 6'7". It's just
I love
crazy.
me some Lamborghini. He's so fun to watch sometimes. He's so fun. when you got Lomberg skating on the ice and smiling, I think you scared. I'm scared. If I'm the other opposing team, I'm looking down the ice and I'm seeing as I'm on the boards and I see reflection Lomberg coming at me, it's like smiling. I'm
He's
scared.
just a crazy person. I love it.
He's
He's awesome.
he plays so recklessly, and sometimes
Yeah.
it does cost us with taking penalties and everything. But with the way he plays, it's such a great presence on the ice, especially when you have guys who control the game very well with Kevin Stenlund and even Nick Cousins. He's someone that I have not shied away from being very critical of in the past. Because I felt like he was a big piece of the. I thought he was a big thing last during the regular season that was keeping us from reaching our full potential. But I feel like last night he played a really solid game all around, and that fourth line, as you said, it was shut down. It played great, and if the fourth line can continue playing great, especially against Tampa, you can honestly. I'm not saying put against Kucherov or anything, but I mean. It's great to be able to deploy that fourth line in important situations.
Yeah. I mean, I think we covered it all for the game. I mean, it's like I don't have any real negative takeaways. If they play like that again, I will be thrilled.
Yeah.
So that was awesome to see. I think everyone stepped up. Like for the first playoff game, home, the juices are flowing. Like they wanted to play so long. I think you also, if you got a chance to see Kachuk in his post game interview, was like, yeah, like I mean, I'll be honest, like the beginning of the regular season, like it's boring. Like I don't that the wordage I just used there wasn't exact, but he pretty much is like it was nice to be playing like real meaningful hockey again, like with stakes. So I thought it was just great all around. Looking forward to game 2. I would not change anything lineup wise, or I don't think there's really anything to do. Stick to the game plan, play like that again. And yeah, I mean, I think game 2 should go the same way. For the Lightning, I do expect them to have a better effort. If you take out that first 16 minutes of the game after that, they were pretty good. They were even like Vasilevsky, like we said. I think we all are going to count on him to steal a game here eventually. But yeah, I mean, I think if you could hold serve at home and then you just got to win one on the road at that point in Tampa. So big game 2. They know it. The players know it. I don't think that's any secret, but do the same thing. And I think you should expect a similar result. Yeah, I mean, I think Lightning will give you a better effort, though, for sure. A full 60 minutes from them, but I still think we should be able to handle game 2.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much. I think the Panthers showed that now they are a better team. It's one of the first times they've ever won a game 1 in round 1. This is the first time ever facing Tampa where they have a series lead, so that's huge. Having a 1-0 lead, getting out to that big, just series lead, so huge for them. And then tomorrow we go ahead and see if the Panthers can go ahead and take a 2-0 series lead and just really push the paddle on Tampa and bring them to their close to elimination.
Yeah. And so much can change with the NHL playoffs. That's what we saw last year. Like so much just changes on its head. But if you were to lose game 2, I would not start to be concerned or anything.
No,
I think
I'm not concerned really until I think that the Panthers need to win tomorrow. I'm not saying it's the playoffs. Every game feels like it's a must win in the situation because you never want to give the other team momentum, especially you don't want to give Tampa momentum heading into Tampa because going into Tampa it's just a completely different atmosphere. It's so hard to win games on the road over there. We were able to do it during the regular season. We had that really big, that's not even close of a win, where it was like 9-2 or 9-3, something like that. But you're not going to have that. You're not going to get that against Vasilevsky again. You're not going to be able to score that many goals in a row. So if you can win tomorrow, go up 2-0, put the pressure on them to go back into their home ice and, try. And they have to try and take 2 games. If you can at least win tomorrow or take one of the 2 in Tampa, you're set up for a great. You're set. You're set.
Yeah, I think I was talking with my friends and we just kind of mentioned like it's different now. Like in last year's playoffs, like I feel like the Panthers felt there was like a talent disadvantage, and in years past against the Lightning, like it felt like the other teams we were playing were the better team. So that's why they like try to muck it up, try to get it dirty, like do this stuff after the whistle, change it into a brawl. But I don't think the Panthers feel like that anymore. I think they feel like they deserve to be where they are. They know who they are and they know what they're capable of. They went from the hunted to the hunter now. And I think definitely the ball's in Tampa's court to come out here and respond in game 2. I think the Panthers are going to do the same thing. One thing I will say, as far as if I can remember my train of thought here, but yeah, I think just in general. Oh, here's what I was going to say. My apologies, but yeah, like the game 1, like there was a point where when it was tied in the second, or no, I'm sorry, when we were up in the third, like I didn't feel like we played like so well and we can't do this again. Like that wasn't a game where if we lost, I wouldn't feel concerned. So I think that they're just in a good spot right now. Like this is a 7-game series. Like the Islanders, though, for example, against Carolina, like they outplayed Carolina and lost, and you can't do that. Like if you're the Islanders,
yeah.
But I don't think the Panthers are like in a spot where if they play up to their standard and lose, they feel worried. Like they just go out there and play their game, they're going to be fine. So yeah, game 2 should be good here. Talking on the Islanders, yeah, I think not to look ahead, but I think we'd be doing a disservice to everyone here if we weren't talking about the other series.
Yeah, true.
I thought it was just a really interesting game 1 for Carolina and Toronto. I thought Boston. I didn't think they played necessarily like great, but they seemed very comfortable with this series, and
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. Again, every series can change so fast, but I think if you see if Boston gets another win today, I would be pretty surprised if they throw the series away. If they go up 2-0, I think they can definitely win in Toronto at least once.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, they played a solid game, but I mean, they obviously missed Nylander a whole lot. Not having Nylander there, that's a big hole in the lineup, obviously, with how much he's getting paid, A, and B, how much he contributes to that team, power play, etc. So I mean, that's obviously a big hole in the lineup and a big gap that they weren't able to overcome. But also, I feel like there was obvious signs there too that not having a good goaltender in net. I'm not saying Samsonov isn't good, but having not a top tier lineup, a top tier goalie that can steal games for you, that obviously paid a dividend there. On one side you have 2 of the best goalies in the league. They're able to go with their backup from last year to start game 1, and whether he's the backup or the starter, it doesn't really matter because whoever Boston goes with, they're 2 amazing goaltenders. Toronto's side, their starter is someone who just 2 years ago was the backup in Washington. So it's whether Toronto can take this game or not, I don't think they really can beat Boston with just how deep their lineup is. Toronto's obviously also deep, but I don't think they're necessarily nearly as deep as I think. Relatively, they don't have nearly as many lines to compete as teams like Florida, Carolina, New York. List goes on. Their depth gets relatively quick, depletes very quickly. So, I think this is just Boston. I think this is Boston's series to lose.
Yeah, I think for all these series, Panthers would like all the other series to go as long as possible. Let the other teams blood each other up. So hopefully some of these underdogs can get some wins here on the Eastern side. I think it's, if you're a Panthers fan and just solely a Panthers fan, I think it'd be too early to start looking at the West. But just intriguing games all around. I think I saw for both the NBA and NHL playoffs, home teams 14-0 so far.
Yeah, that's I think actually, last night I missed. Unfortunately, I was unfortunately unable to see any of the other games besides the Panthers one. I saw a little bit of the Washington one, but I turned that game off pretty quickly just so I can board my flight. But the Colorado game was phenomenal. I mean, the Winnipeg and Colorado game I think it ended 7-6.
Yeah,
and just seeing that after I got off the plane, I'm like, man, what did I miss? I wish I was watching that one. And then I was actually able to watch the third period of the Vancouver game and that game ended phenomenally too. That was another great game. So I mean, all I feel like 75% of the games so far have looked competitive and have been really good to watch. So I mean, I think you can already tell the playoffs have gotten started. It's a new breed of hockey, and it's definitely too early to start looking at potential matchups for the Panthers. But obviously, if you are making it, if you are making it to all the way, to round 3 or whatever, or looking past Tampa, you definitely don't want to face New York because New York had their number. It feels like, even though they didn't beat them, but I mean, New York is such a good team, and um, Boston obviously had Panthers number all year. The Panthers didn't beat them once, but I'm not honestly too worried against Boston because we beat them last year. I feel like they have a weaker team compared to last year, and the Panthers faced them quite a few times where they weren't at their full self. I feel like they could have easily beaten Boston both games, both third and fourth game, to end the season. I know the one. I don't know if either one went to overtime. Maybe one of them did. I know one of them did. The
Yeah,
last one,
the
Boston.
last one did. Yeah.
Did the one in Florida go to the overtime, or did we fall like?
No, it was. I think the Panthers were up like 3-2, and then they took a delay of game penalty, and then they tied it, and then they scored like 10 seconds later, like with like a minute left. Boston, like off a pretty bad giveaway, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I was kind of having trouble remembering that part, but obviously you are concerned facing Boston if you do make it to round 2 and are able to get past Tampa, but either way, that's still in the future. That's still probably weeks from now. You obviously still have to do with slaying your own demons right now over here in Tampa, and if you get past them, it's a great round 1 matchup to get past, and I think it sets the Panthers up beautifully.
Yeah, I think tonight we're gonna get some overtime playoff hockey.
I can't wait to watch the Vegas series because I think Mark Stone
officially back. Yep.
He returns after a miraculous recovery. I'm not saying he didn't have an injury. I should go ahead and clarify that up. We don't necessarily, none of us really know what he did go through. He most likely was injured. Maybe they did stretch out a little bit just to, do what they did and get Noah Hannafin or whatever. But that's not for us to cover.
Yeah,
for another time.
Just to talk about that real quick, like the injury was a lacerated spleen, and like I'm not saying his spleen wasn't lacerated because
that's a very serious injury.
Yeah, all these like people who are saying he wasn't injured, like how many doctors would have to like commit blatant fraud and in the organization, and like no one would uncover this. Like all these guys are just going to stay silent. Like that's not happening. But to your point, I think like he recovered. And then they just kept him on there because, like,
I said it a couple times. I feel like I don't remember. I think it was the year after the bubble year. I think it was the first time we faced the Panthers, the year that Kucherov missed the entire season.
Yeah,
and I remember that. Yeah, it was the year we faced him the first time in 2021. I remember Kucherov missed the entire season, but like halfway through the year, Kucherov was already skating.
Yeah, so like if they needed him for the play, like, for the regular season to make the playoffs, I think these guys would play.
Yeah.
They'd find a way to fit it under the cap. But like they're just like, screw it. Like, we don't need you. Stay healthy.
When and Paul Maurice even said too. Paul Maurice even said we didn't make any trades that would have put us over the cap or made us have to do what Vegas did.
I love what Vegas is doing. I give them all the credit in the world. Like, so if you aren't cheating,
if it allows you to do it, do it. Because I mean, hey, Florida did it when they got Drew. Tampa has done it plenty of times. Florida's done it twice. Vegas has now done it like 3 straight years in a row. In which all the executives, they even said today, like all the executives were making jokes about it on a phone call, on the owners and the GMs and everything. All of them were making making fun of Vegas for doing it and everything. But everyone said at the exact same time, everyone said the same thing.
Yep,
we allowed it to happen, and we're not going to change it.
Yeah, either change the rule or do it yourselves. Like, there's no reason to be upset with Vegas. Like, they're just using the rules to the fullest advantage. So I give them credit for that. I mean, just brutal for Dallas to win the Western Conference, and
you have to take it on Juggernaut over there in Vegas, who also won a cup. Just your reward for basically winning the West. Here, go ahead and have to face one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I feel scared for them because like that's a tough team. I wouldn't want to play them. They're just massive physical dudes. I think Pietrangelo I don't know if I've seen him confirmed in yet, but I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't play. So yeah, good luck, Dallas.
And this is gonna be this is a great match. This is a round 3 rematch from last year. Honestly, this is a series I think is gonna go 7 games.
Yeah,
I think this is gonna go the max 7 games, and I could easily see this. I think this series is gonna be the Boston versus Florida from last year, in which I don't think Vegas is nearly at the same level of what Florida was at last year, in which the Floridas were counted out from the start. I mean, like most teams, I feel like it's kind of like 50-50 at this point. I haven't really looked at how many people are picking either side. However, I think everyone knows how good Vegas is. I feel like everyone knows how good Dallas can be. I honestly, I had to say it, but I think it comes down to Jake Ottinger.
Oh, I totally agree.
I think it's going to come down to Ottinger. If we get playoff Ottinger like we saw a couple years ago in Calgary, I think Dallas wins this series.
Yeah, if he's like that, because he dragged that series himself to 7 games. Like the rest of it was horrible, and I think it was overtime game 7 too. I want to say it was.
Yeah, it was. Brady Tkachuk in the building.
Yeah, and I mean Pavelski. I think Pavelski is going to have a big series. Just playoff guy. And they got young guys on Dallas who I think are incredible, and Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston, but. Both teams have their hands full. I'm specifically most excited for that game, if you couldn't tell by just talking for it.
Yeah.
I'd also just real quick to touch on it, and then I'll wrap up. I think the team that everyone is counting out is the LA Kings. And I'm not saying that they're gonna pull it off, but people are not remembering that this series I think it was game 5. Whichever it was, they were up 2-1, the Kings in the series, and they had a 3-goal lead in the third period, and then they collapsed and lost in overtime, and then Edmonton runs away with the series, but they hold on to that lead. They're up 3-1. So I think the LA Kings are being severely counted out, and we know that Edmonton can have goaltender issues, so I think that's like an underrated series that isn't being talked about enough, that I think should deserve more credit. I mean, we've seen it so many times, and I didn't want to see it again, but now that we got it, I don't know why everyone just is already penciling Edmonton into the next round.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting too. LA they play with a 1-3-1 line. They have one guy in the front, 3 at center ice, and 1 in the back end. And we've seen it successful many times in the past. Tampa used to use it in the early 2010s. I remember I just recently watched a video on it and everything. LA currently runs that system, and they were able to, by using that system, they're able to shut down Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers quite a few times, and just by doing that, you're able to shut down the best player in the world. That is huge. So, and if it works again, this is a great rematch from a couple of years ago. It's going to be so fun to watch. This is going to be another great series. I feel like also, arguably, the best series are actually happening out west. Yeah. I mean, these are some phenomenal series.
Which I hate, Sarah. 10:30, the 10 p.m. puck trap. Come on.
I know it sucks too. It really does suck because these are some phenomenal series, and I got school. I'm not trying to stay up that late to watch it. But I mean, I was able to watch Vancouver's from last night. I was so happy to watch that because the atmosphere in Vancouver, if you didn't see, was amazing. That was so fun to watch. So I mean, it's just playoff hockey. It's playoff hockey. I love it. Yeah.
To final thing to touch on the atmosphere. I thought the fans were really, really, really good yesterday. Honestly, it was one of the better crowds that I've been at. Maybe I'm just personally thinking about it from last year when we played Boston, and there was so many Boston fans in there. But this was completely Panthers fans. They were cheering like in the past. I feel like in the playoffs, the fans when a guy makes a big block, that's when you should be cheering because that hurts like hell and it's key for the team and it makes so much of a difference. And now I feel like the fans were cheering it. There was one time where Rodriguez iced the puck with 3 minutes left, but we were pinned down in the zone for a while and the place just went wild, which you haven't seen that before for an icing.
Yeah.
Which I was good job on the fans. The in-arena entertainment, as always, it's not the best. But I did say before the goal song is finally growing on me just because some of my friends there were Tampa fans. picture them just like all the Panthers fans yelling at them in this like ridiculously terrible song blasting and getting louder. Like that just be
it's you know what, I know one of my favorite sayings is certain subject, it's so bad it's good, and I feel like the Florida Panthers goal song is almost like that.
Getting there.
It's at the beginning of the season, it was everyone was clowning on it, and at the end of the season I feel like almost everyone is saying go Cats go now.
100%.
Go Cats go has been our thing for a long time, but I feel like now we're almost like subjectively using it specifically because of the goal song, which is so funny.
It's becoming a thing now. That's the mantra for the playoffs, I guess.
Also, I want to see, because I do want to say, right, my last point to go ahead and say that I do agree that I think the Panthers, the stadium was amazing. I do want to go ahead and see the playoff towels come back.
Yes.
I hope they have it for game 2. I love collecting the towels for the playoffs, and B, as much as I think the glow sticks were nice, I'd rather them have the glow sticks and the towels, because I feel like the glow sticks, them not having something to necessarily wait around in the air when the goal scored, it was still loud. So better. But I think as you saw, Winnipeg with the white out and everyone had the white towels and everything, I think it looks so much better with that happening.
Yeah. Sorry, no, go ahead.
And the last thing I also want to say was the fact that even 2 years ago when we faced Tampa in the second round and we got swept. And you can almost see it too when Ross Colton had that goal in the last second with like 3 seconds left in the game in game 2. There was quite a bit of Tampa Bay fans there in the background. You can hear them. When Colton scores that goal, you can hear them. I don't think I ever once heard anything that was positive from happening from Tampa. Even when they scored, I feel like it was almost completely silence. And that's like the first time I've ever heard that, and that's huge. Because the Panthers, they've showed this in the last 3 years, ever since they become a perennial contender. Their fan base has shown up consistently, and it's so nice to see.
Yeah, I've with anything in South Florida sports, if you win, people will show up, and they're winning, so people will be here. For the towels, I hope they do bring it back, because it just looks so much better, just visually, in any stadium, not just the Panthers. Bring back the rally towels for game 2. There was one final thing. I don't know if you could see this on the broadcast, but I think after a goal or something, someone must have thrown a rat onto the ice that was like there during the play. And the puck hit it or something. And I swear they were like playing with the rat for like a second by accident.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was that. I saw it on the ice, and I was telling my friend, I'm like, what the hell is that on the ice? Is there another puck in play? And then sure enough, 30 seconds later, they hit it. And then once they hit it, the ref ran over and got it. But I was just did they accidentally use a rat just skating around with it for a little?
I wish we were living in 1996 so we could go ahead and have the year of the rat again. That would be so nice. But man, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So hopefully it's some more great memories to come in game 2. And another win. So I think we'll probably do another one of these here after game 2 would be my guess. Is there it's just every other day for game 3, or is there a 2-day gap? Do you know?
Let me actually check real quick.
Yeah, while you're checking that, I'll close out here. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to this. There's a lot more to come. Hopefully we have many more of these episodes this year. So I think I personally would love that. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Every like, it's a goal for the Panthers or something like that. So you got to do it now. Were you able to see?
Yes. So it is pretty much every other day up until it hits game 7. If it does go for game 7, if we have a 3-3 draw and it goes to a game 7 in Florida, it would wind up being 2 days off.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's every other day.
That'll be a fun 2 days if that happens.
I don't think I'd be leaving the house. I think I would just be curled up in a ball, just scared.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. But yeah, like I was saying, thank you everyone so much for listening. Please check out everything we're doing here and all our other partners with Panthers versus the World. It's a great time to be a South Florida sports fan. I feel like finally there's some success here and for every sport, not just one team. So it's great to see. And Jeremy, got anything to say before we close out here?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, go Panthers. Thanks again. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and go Cats go.